Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching the Daily Report. Time now for the home stretch of the conversation with Shikoh Kihika, the Executive Director, Tribless Youth, on matters youth and participation in democracy. Shikoh, when you look at how this conversation has spiraled, how things have gone, the policies that have, the young people have asked to be abolished, we are also seeing a shift in how the behavior of the leaders. Over this past weekend, we didn't see them go to churches. Young people threatened to go to the churches and to occupy pulpits and to occupy churches where these leaders had planned to attend. We are hearing even reports of how, they have changed their modes of transport. Do you think that as it is right now, that they can redeem themselves?
I do not think so.
Okay.
And I was telling someone, if I was an MP right now, and I voted yes for the finance bill, I'd resign. And I'd resign because if you resign right now, then at least you save face to do go, and you can say, I'm taking my time to go reflect and think about myself. But why am I so proud of what these young people are saying? They're changing something that generations that have been there before have not tried to do. They are changing the narrative that we cannot question the church. They're changing the narrative that we can allow the church to be rogue, and we can allow the church to work with corrupt individuals without questioning them, because we do not question those who God has chosen. Now, it is time for them to do the Jesus work, where the Lord's work here is making sure anyone who's dining with the corrupt does not get a chance to speak. And I love the fact that they've decided to occupy these places. Occupying the church means taking the church where it belongs, taking the church back to serving the people and not the political leaders. We have seen politicians go to church fundraisers and giving millions and millions of money. It's not even equivalent to the salaries you earn. So where do you get this money from? So I think this has taught us something, that is a proper time for us to also ask and demand for a public audit of the NGCDF. It is also a high time that we demand that these members of parliament devolve NGCDF. It's not supposed to be a national kitty. And the work of your MP is at a national level. So this money needs to come back to the county, to sort the people in the county, to educate the kids in the county. So for me, it's high time we stop using NGCDF as a campaign fund, that now MPs think they're doing you a favor by not by giving you the bursaries and everything. So it's a good step, and I love the fact that we are challenging the church. The church was lost. I'm glad this generation is bringing it back to the course. And I hope it continues. Why am I so happy about our MPs now having to even adjust differently? And I said just differently because it means you can no longer use the wrong side of the road because you have siren and bodyguards. You have to respect the fact that this is law and this is how law works. You can no longer stop a whole meeting of the people because you've arrived late and you need to talk because you're in a hurry to go to another meeting. You understand that you're no longer a priority. And I think Kenyans should work so hard to make this seat not really, I don't know how to put it, but make it so undesirable that when you're vying for it because you want to serve the people, not because of the deals you're going to get, not because of the money you're going to get, not because of the handout you get. Because allegedly some of these MPs sold us out for 2 million, and we can see now they're coming out to apologize, saying, I wish I knew I would not have taken this money. So just seeing this happen, for me, it means that young people are ready to occupy their spaces. They are ready to exercise Article 1 of the Constitution, and they have given life to our Constitution 2010. I think that one I give them 100%.
So, Shikoh, as we enter the home stretch, quick ones. The hashtag Ruto must go is still trending. It's what you guys will be advocating for. So do you want all these things happening at a go? The firing of, CESs with questionable reputation, the abolishing of housing levy, the debt audit, the employment of JSS teachers on permanent and pensionable, the employment of intern doctors, and then also, hashtag Ruto must go. Do you want all these to go happen at a go? I mean, how would you then prescribe? Because you've said you want the president to listen and then act upon what you say.
I'd want to say we do not pay taxes in halves, we pay in full. And so our taxes must be respected in that order. But I also understand we have to have the order of priority to how things work. And the first order of priority for us, and I would say for me as Shikoh, would be reconstruction of IEBC, because that is critical in this process. And as I mentioned, there's an ongoing court case where the mention was today, and the ruling will be done. The submissions should be done in the next 10 days, and the ruling will be done by end of this month.
Okay.
What does this mean? It means that we first need a stable IEBC, and rules must change for IEBC. It's not going to be about the political parties' favorites, but it's going to be about the people who are willing to serve the people, because we are going to also hold IEBC accountable. So it is first reconstruct IEBC. And then we know we have IEBC, because when we have IEBC, I know for sure we can also start recalling some of these MPs. At the same time, there are some things that are non-negotiable. At the same time, we want to see timelines from government, and them telling us between July 1st, today's July 1st, and July 30th, MP salaries, because today begins also another budget year.
Yes.
So we need to know how much are they going to be consuming. We need to know how much is allocated for State House. We need to know how much is going to be allocated for the MP salaries. We also need to know, now that the national government amendment, it's now an Act 2023 because they passed it, will the president assent to it? And if he assents to it, does it mean this is the new re-entrance of the CASs? So we actually just need clarity, and we need transparency. We will not be begging for information. The Constitution allows us to the right to access to information. So we need transparency. We need proper access to information. We need meaningful participation in this process. So I know for sure all of them cannot happen together, being realistic, but we need to have an order of priority through it. And the order of priority would be, as I've mentioned it, but again, I do not speak for the youth of Kenya. So the youth will have their priorities. And when they decide to set up the space and maybe invite the president and his people, then they will be able to lay down their priorities in that order.
So this, of course, is a conversation that will continue for days to come. So it therefore means that you will be checking the government in accordance to how they act upon things every time as it happens. So, this therefore means that, shall we see new priorities and new demands coming up every other time, Shikoh?
Yes, depending on what is there, because we are here to participate. And the president made it clear and said, help me serve you. So we're going to offer ourselves. And we're offering ourselves because we are the taxpayers. We're also offering ourselves because we need a country that works for us. We are also offering ourselves because we have gotten to a point where I think maybe unless you push, then results will not come. So yes, there are going to be demands depending on timelines, because the government is not stuck on one thing. So we're going to move from the first phase to the next phase until the last phase. So we are here to walk this journey with the president and the team. And I think it's important for us to acknowledge that normally on a normal day, Kenyans exercise their power by just voting and keeping quiet and maybe observing to see how it goes, and leaving the checks and balances to most of the times the civil society. It's brilliant since to see that it's not about the civil society. It's not about your usual activists. It's about Kenyans who are, I am a Kenyan. I don't even know what activism is. I am here because this is what I feel. So for me, it feels like Kenyans have learned that you cannot just exercise your power at the ballot. You have to walk the journey with the people you've elected until they deliver what they promised to you. And I think that is going to be the new journey, because when we started, I told you the Kenya we had 2 weeks ago is no longer the Kenya we have today. This is a new Kenya, and we need to start addressing it as new as it is. This is our new norm, and we have to normalize it and work with it.
I think it is in Ghana where, there is an expected uprising of the youth, somewhere in West Africa, come September. And they've looked at how the past has been in terms of how the youth have been able to participate, whereas Occupy, the presidential palace must have been Sri Lanka, how that happened. Do you think that perhaps that's a channel, where we've seen the past, the successes of youth revolutions and uprisings, we are going to see that mirrored in Kenya, and what that shapes especially for the conversation in Africa and beyond?
I'd want to say yes. And I think the beautiful thing is that Kenyans, we are pace setters. I have seen South Africa, I have seen Ghana, I have seen all these people coming and saying, you know what, see what the Kenyan youth is doing. They are claiming their space, they are speaking up, and we need to do the same. We've seen Ugandans speak about the same. So for me, I think why I have so much faith in this is that I know for sure things will never be the same again. Is that I know for sure we will start seeing the results of why we have institutions and government. We will start seeing the results of why we pay taxes. And I think that is the way to go. And I just want to maybe highlight and say, why again I'm saying we're the pace setter. I saw Kenyans in a space, a 10-hour space, and they raised over 20 million. What has it done? It has cleared hospital bills. It has helped bury some of our fallen heroes. And you know what? Just one person being more accountable than our entire NHIF system. So we need to ask ourselves, where do we go wrong? And those who are in those offices, we need to ask ourselves, do we need a proper audit of who is hired in this office? And why is it that our systems don't work? We've also seen Kenyans in a very short while develop a whole website with MPs, their businesses, and how much they earn. Like any single information you need, you can get it right now. We've seen a whole Kenyan sit down and say, you know what, I understand you guys are good with artificial intelligence. I've gone and uploaded the finance bill there. I've gone and uploaded this ruling here. I've uploaded ABCD here. It is making people literally get information at the tip of their fingers quick and fast. So again, I repeat, it's a new era, it's a new dawn. And I think it's proper because if we harness this power, we are going to be the mirror that Africa needs to move forward. And again, in the spirit of borderless Africa, we hope that other youth in different countries are going to see this, are going to emulate it, and we're going to make Africa great together.
Brilliant. Shikoh, we could go on, but our time is up. So I'd like to pick your closing remarks. You can speak to your fellow youth and of course to the government as well, and what you'd like to see even as you speak about tomorrow and the days to come.
On a normal day, if I was to speak to the government, I would lecture them about how not to increase taxes and everything, but we've seen that does not work. So it's only to say, Mr. President and your team, maybe you need to pay attention, you need to listen, and you need to understand that these young people mean the best for this country, and they cannot die for helping you do the job that you need to do. But to my dear Kenyans, my dear young people, I see you, I feel you, and I'm with you in solidarity. And whatever you're doing is important. And remember, you're doing this because you're patriotic enough to fight and put your life in the front line for this nation. Yeah, thank you, George.
Asante sana. That has been Shikoh Kihika, Executive Director, Tribless Youth, speaking to us on matters youth and participation in democracy. You have heard it. And of course, to those who have ears, they have heard. And we wait to see how the days to come look like. Shikoh, please stay safe, and we hope that all your activities shall be carried out peacefully and safely. I want to wish you a good night. I am George Maringa, also thanking you for your tremendous feedback tonight. As always, stay safe and be kind to one another. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.